I am making this video today to share my story of quitting alcohol for 6 months after 20 years of extremely heavy drinking. I first started drinking when I was 15 years old, and growing up in Denmark I didn't know a single person who did not drink. It is just something that we all start to do at a very early age without ever questioning it at all. And all I know and all that I can say to you is that the past 6 months has completely changed my life in ways that I would have never expected. And if you have ever wondered what is it like being sober, this video might teach you something. I was very surprised by what I learned during the past 6 months, and I think that you will be surprised too. So growing up in Denmark and in Copenhagen especially, drinking was just everything. I used to go out several times per week, and I completely identified as being like this party guy. Alcohol has always made me very happy and very excited, and it helped me, talk to girls and meet new friends, and in a way it just made me feel like as if I belonged somewhere. And if you would have asked me in my 20s if I ever thought that I would be sober in my 30s, I wouldn't have guessed it. And I think it's because by the standards of what everyone else around me was doing, it never seemed like I had a problem, because if you do something and everyone else is just doing the same thing, you don't really stand out, and people are not really questioning your decision. But I do think that I realized that at some point it was actually hurting me how much alcohol I was consuming on a weekly basis. And I really started to notice this when I passed the 30-year mark. And my hangovers, they just got a whole lot worse, and they lasted for longer, and they just hit a lot harder. And I just realized how much it was affecting my life in a negative way, that I was being hungover and wasting so much of my life feeling sorry for myself. I also noticed that in some way alcohol was preventing me from achieving all my biggest goals and dreams in this life. For me, it's extremely important to be as happy and healthy and fit and energetic as possible. But when you drink alcohol on a weekly basis, this is not the case. Instead, I would be like tired, and I would don't have any energy, and I would be feeling sorry for myself, and I would be eating crap food, and just a lot of things that would prevent me from living the life that I actually want to live and living the life that I dream of. And then at some point, I think I started to wonder, if I decide to quit alcohol, who could I be and what could I potentially achieve? And this question just got stuck in my mind, and I was really like, okay, I need to try and take a break from alcohol and see what happens. Because at the end of the day, I am 35 years old now, and I started working towards I started to try and achieve my goals and my dreams, I think around 10 years old. When I was 25 years old, I started to read books, and I started to have some long-term goals that I wanted to achieve. For example, one of them was to be financially free as early as possible, so that I can live a life on my own terms. And I have just realized that, of course, I have made progress towards all of my goals, but I'm just nowhere near where I thought I would be when I was 25, 10 years later at 35. And I think that I have come to the conclusion that if I continue to live my life in this way, where I drink every weekend or every other weekend, I might end up being 50 or 60 years old at some point, still not having achieved or fulfilled any of my dreams and my goals in life. And that thought is just really, really scary to me. And I think it's important to realize that if you want an extraordinary life, you have to be willing to do things that ordinary people are not willing to do. And I think that one of these things, at least for me, could be quitting alcohol and just seeing what happens. Yeah, so basically I have just realized that I cannot afford to waste any more time being hungover or feeling sorry for myself. Life is short, and the older I get, the faster I feel like time just passes by. And if I want to achieve my biggest dreams and goals in life, there is never a better opportunity than right now. I have to get to work now if I want the life that I'm dreaming of. And when you think about it, I think alcohol is the only drug on this earth where if you don't do it, people think that there is something wrong with you and people think that you have a problem. There is something, I think it's tradition and culture and maybe also clever marketing from the companies who sell this alcohol, but it is just something, it is quite hard to quit alcohol, especially if you live in a society where a lot of the social events that you go to revolve around alcohol. And I must say that is definitely the case in Denmark. And people who drink, they don't really like being around people who don't drink, because in a way it just takes the fun out of it for them. And I also remember feeling the same way when I used to drink a lot. So yeah, I think it's just a very interesting observation that if you don't drink alcohol, that is something that people will question you for not doing. So yeah, this last New Year's Eve, I decided, based on all the things I just told you, to take a 6-month break from alcohol. It was kind of like a New Year's resolution. And I think the main reason for doing this, for example, I have seen some of Andrew Huberman's podcast, especially his episode on alcohol, and I just realized that the data is clear. Alcohol is just really bad for you. It completely ruins your sleep. It increases the amount of stress that you have in your body. It lowers your mood, and yeah, it is just unhealthy to drink alcohol, and it damages your body. And you just have to be aware of that and make a conscious decision if you want to continue or not. I also realized that I was feeling kind of stressed out by work and all the other obligations that I had in my life, and I think I was using alcohol to cope with that, because that's the good thing about alcohol. It kind of like numbs you, and it distracts you, and it makes it easier to not deal with the things that you have to deal with. And I just realized that I wanted to find a more sustainable solution to dealing with the stress that I had in my life, and alcohol is definitely not the way to do it. I also realized that, I didn't realize that, I knew that all along, but alcohol is just really expensive, and if you go to restaurants, the bill will easily be 50% higher because of the alcohol than if you don't drink alcohol. And when you go out, you take taxis, you buy junk food, you buy rounds for the people you are there with, and it ends up costing a lot of money each year if you go out and drink on a regular basis. And as I said, I want to be financially free, and I want to have a life where I can do things on my own terms. And if I waste 30% of my take-home pay going out and drinking alcohol, it just makes it a whole lot more difficult to achieve that goal. So it is quite interesting that in the past 6 months, I have attended a lot of events where normally I would be completely drunk out of my mind. I have been to festivals, and I have been to concerts, I have been to work-related events and parties, I have been at, dinners in fancy restaurants and all of that stuff. And I managed, despite of being in all of these situations where I would normally drink, I actually managed to stay sober. And I was very surprised that I actually enjoyed it a lot more than what I would have expected. And I think it's because normally when I drink, I have this feeling of being conflicted, because I know that alcohol is bad for me, and I know that drinking will leave me to become hungover the next day. And it's like a dilemma that I'm dealing with. It's an internal conflict that I have. And also just the fact that because my tolerance level is so high now from drinking heavily for 20 years, I have to actually also spend a lot of time and effort trying to get drunk and have fun, because it just takes a lot of alcohol to reach that point now and to maintain that point now. But what I realized was that when I was not drinking, I could actually just relax and enjoy the event for what it is, and I could just, taste the food or listen to the music, and I didn't have to stress about being drunk and all these things. And it was just a really enjoyable experience. And I think I realized that I really enjoy the type of person that I am when I'm sober. I'm much more in control, I'm much more confident, I'm much more authentic, and I don't say things that I will regret the next day, and I don't spend money that I will regret the next day, and I can get up early the next day and still work out and do all of the things that I really enjoy doing, and it doesn't ruin my sleep. And It was just a big surprise for me how much I actually enjoyed attending these events without drinking. And another thing that's pretty interesting is that now there are so many great non-alcoholic drinks. So people around you, they don't even notice that you're not drinking. You can just go completely undercover and pretend that you're drunk and you're having fun and you're dancing, and people will not even realize it. So that's super great and makes it a lot easier now than when I have tried to quit alcohol in the past. But then on the other hand, you also have all the amazing benefits of quitting alcohol. And first of all, I just noticed that my sleep really improved and my cardio also got significantly better. My diet got much more clean and consistent and aligned with my values, and I eat much more what I want to be eating rather than like going to junk food and sugar and to try and get over the hangovers. I also had a lot more energy during the day, and when I worked out, I could push myself harder. I felt like I would recover faster, and I would also miss fewer sessions because I wasn't spending time being hungover on the weekends. So yeah, overall, a lot of physical benefits from quitting alcohol for sure. And I would also say that I feel like at 35 years old, I'm in the best shape of my life. I woke up and checked my Whoop band this morning, and my resting heart rate is at 40. And I'm 35 years old. It's absolutely crazy, and I definitely think quitting alcohol is one of the main reasons for that. I also noticed that when you're not drinking alcohol and you're not hungover, it is very easy to build momentum in your life because you don't spend any time feeling sorry for yourself or sleeping in or watching Netflix on the weekends. Instead now I just get up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning every day, also on the weekends, and I feel like instead of the weekend being like a recovery period, now I see it more as like an opportunity for growth. And I spend my weekends working on this YouTube channel. I work out, I spend time with the few friends that I actually really enjoy hanging out with, and I get stuff done around the house, and I just feel like I'm much more productive and I live much more aligned with my values, and it's an amazing feeling, and I highly recommend that you try it out for yourself. Also mentally, I feel like I have gained clarity and focus, and I have this ability to process information better and stay focused for longer hours, which has been really helpful at work and also with this YouTube channel. Another thing is that I feel like I have new hobbies and interests now, and I have realized that I don't care about nightclubs, and I also don't really care about fancy restaurants and being drunk. I also noticed that taking a vacation in like a big city is not something that really interests me anymore, because I don't enjoy going to wine bars or restaurants and drinking alcohol. So I would much rather spend time in nature, be somewhere where it's peace and quiet and where I can relax and unwind. And yeah, I have this urge for being in nature and for peace and quiet that I haven't felt. Maybe it's because I'm getting older, I don't know. But it just feels great to relax and unwind instead of being out and spending money and trying to impress other people and the big city life and stuff like that. I'm not interested in that anymore, not really. Most importantly, I would say the biggest benefit of quitting alcohol is the fact that I have gained self-confidence and self-worth. As I said earlier, I really enjoy the person that I am when I'm sober. I'm in control, I'm authentic, I'm emotionally stable. I live a life that is aligned with my values. I wake up every day and I feel fresh and energetic, and I think it's just the fact that I don't let myself down on a weekly basis. I don't have to spend any time feeling shame or guilt because I'm doing something that I know is really bad for me. And that has been an amazing feeling, and that is definitely something that has taught me a lot. That when you live a life aligned with your values and you do the things that you know you're supposed to be doing, it's just a great, great feeling. And I'm really happy that I got to experience that feeling in the past 6 months. So I think that the biggest takeaway from me after these past 6 months of being sober is just that Life is short and I cannot afford to waste any more time being hungover or feeling sorry for myself. I have dreams and goals in this life and I don't want to risk it all by drinking every weekend. I don't want to wake up when I'm 50 or 60 years old realizing that I will never achieve any of my biggest goals in life. And I feel like being sober allows me to try and reach my full potential here in life. I know that I'm definitely not there right now, but at least I know that I'm trying. I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and that in itself is just a really great feeling. I really think that I owe it to myself to see what life is like on the other side, to see what I can achieve if I really put myself to the test. And I know that drinking and going out and stuff like that, it is fun. But for me right now, I think it's much more fun to try and build my ultimate dream life. I know that all of this maybe sounds scary or overwhelming right now, but I would like to finish off the video by saying I don't feel like you're giving up anything by not drinking. I think that you are on the other side, you're actually gaining something. You are gaining focus, you're gaining clarity, you're gaining time, you're gaining energy, and you can use all of these things to do something with your life. You can start a business, you can read some books, you can pick up a new hobby. You can use your time in a more productive manner and actually feel very good about it. I want to make it absolutely clear that I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm just sharing my experience of being sober in the past 6 months. And I also want to say that after 6 months and 7 days, I was with a lot of friends and I was served a glass of champagne, and I drank that and I enjoyed it and it was good. But I haven't had anything since, and that was 3 weeks ago. And I don't know when I will be having any alcohol again. I might do it if the situation is right, but I'm just being much more cautious and much more selective around when I drink and how much and with whom and all of that stuff. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below, what is your experience with being sober? Have you ever tried it? Have you ever considered it? Just let me know what you think of this video. I think it's a very interesting subject and I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. And with that said, thank you very much for watching the video and see you in the next one.